The strongest men I know are not the ones who held it together. They're the ones who fell apart. And yet they still showed up. And I want you to think about that. Because somewhere right now, a man is watching this video. He happened upon it and he's exhausted, not just physically, emotionally, spiritually, and all the way down. And the thing nobody is telling him is that what he's carrying right now might be the very thing that strengthens his relationship or his marriage. Family, today's conversation is a personal one. So I hope you will allow me to be a little personal. And it came from a phone call that I wasn't prepared for. And in that phone call, it carried a truth that I want to share. I want to share this with every person who has ever felt like quitting something or going through something and chose to show up anyway. So earlier this week, someone dropped in my spirit and I made a phone call and the person almost didn't pick up. And when they did, they said something I was not ready for. They said, "Frank, I didn't feel like being happy." I could hear it in their voice. This person just came through a major surgery and they're fighting every single day just to recover. Their mind is somewhere most of us have never been or couldn't imagine. And yet they picked up the phone anyway. And their partner is right there with them, beside them. And both of them are journeying through this together. And here's what I realized on that call. They weren't broken down. They were broken open. There is a difference, and the difference is everything. And I realized this after thinking about our conversation. Here's the lie we've been sold about strength. Strong men don't break. Strong men don't struggle. Strong men hold it together no matter what. That's not strength. That's a prison. And a lot of men, maybe some of you watching right now, are in a life sentence of your own, alone, performing, saying you're fine and dying inside. Brother Jason Wilson calls it emotional incarceration. And when this person when I called them and they told me that they didn't feel like being happy, it kind of stumped me. And I want to speak to them directly right now because I know they're watching this. My friend, what you did in that moment took more courage than most people ever find. You didn't pretend. You didn't disappear. You picked up the phone. Weak, I could hear it in your voice. Feeling depleted, carrying the weight most of us, again, couldn't imagine. And you still allowed yourself to reach out. And I want you to hear me clearly. That is not weakness. That is the bravest thing a person can do. And I see you. And I'm proud to call you a friend, a good brother. But family, here's what I've learned in almost 29 years of marriage. And some things have been confirmed. Brokenness is not the end of the story. Brokenness is the beginning of a deeper one. Family, every moment my wife and I grew closer, it wasn't in the easy seasons. It wasn't on the vacation. It wasn't on the celebration, the vow renewals and things like that. It was in the waiting room. It was me sitting or laying beside her in the hospital. It was her beside me in the emergency room, the failed plans, the nights we had no answers, but we had each other. Brokenness creates access. It opens doors that strength keeps permanently closed. So here's the question, and I want to place this question right in your hand. Are you letting your partner into your broken places? Or are you performing strength? Real strength is not holding it together. Real strength is letting someone in, especially when you're falling apart. Now, I want to pause here because my friend said something else on the call. They told me that they watched this channel And it's been an encouragement to them during their recovery. In the middle of the hardest stretch of their life, and I want to say something that I want you to know I mean this. You encouraged me. You spoke something during the time when it was needed. Because this I'm doing right now, I was contemplating quitting YouTube. And in the middle of your struggle, you still had something to pour. In your storm, in your health challenges, you weren't thinking just about yourself, you were thinking about others. And that's not ordinary. That's the mark of a person whose character runs deep. And that's why I made this video, because of you. Every word of it. And I need to say this as plainly as I can. Crisis does not build character. Crisis reveals it. It shows you what's already on the inside. And here's the part that nobody talks about. What gets revealed in crisis is not always bad. Sometimes the things we go through, the fire burns away the fake stuff, the stuff we don't need. And what's left is something extraordinary. The person I called hesitated to pick up the phone. And they shared that hesitation in honesty. They picked up the phone anyway. You understand what that means? At that low point, they could have chosen isolation. They could have chose to retreat instead of reach. And that's not something Christ has created in them. Christ has just opened that up and allowed the light to shine on it for me to get what I needed. And I want you to hear this clearly. At the lowest point, if you're going through a low point, you can still reach out to people. You can still be present for your partner. You can still grow and still fight. And that's not a broken person. That's a person being refined. The thing you're going through, the fire, the furnace, as I refer to, it doesn't destroy what's real. It purifies it. You are being purified right now. And what comes on the other side of this is going to be remarkable. And I believe that for you. I believe that for your relationship, for your marriage. You know, the cracks in the foundation, they don't appear during a storm. Quite frankly, they're already there. And the storm just shows you where to build stronger. And here's the good news. And we don't hear it enough. It may sound simple, but cracks can be repaired. Character can grow. People can change. This season is not sentencing you. This season is sculpturing you. So here's the real question. And the question, not how do I survive this, but here it is. Who am I becoming in it? Because the person you're building yourself into right now is the person who shows up for their family. Your strength resonates. So keep that in mind. Remember that. Remember at the beginning, as we started this video, I told you I was going to show you something that only gets discovered in the hardest moments. Well, here it is. And I refer to it as a fire, the things you're going with, the things you're dealing with. The fire that threatens to destroy you is the same fire that can forge into something unbreakable and beautiful. Not in spite of the pain, but through it. I've learned in my years that there are two versions of marriage. In the first version, two people live parallel lives, side by side, but not together, not truly together. Everything looks fine from the outside and on social media until the storm hits. And suddenly they realize they don't know how to find each other. And in the second version, two people have been practicing togetherness in the small, unglamorous, ordinary, everyday moments, choosing conversations over strolling on their phones, staying in the room when it gets uncomfortable, and reaching for each other when reaching feels unnecessary. So when the real storm arrives, they've already know how to hold on. They've done it before in the small ways, and they've learned to practice this, and that practice becomes their salvation. So to the person I called and their partner who is walking every single step of this with them, what you two are doing right now is not going unnoticed. The way you're traveling this together, the way she shows up, the way he reaches out and shares, that's a testimony. And not just for your family, but for every couple watching right now who is wondering if their relationship or marriage can make it through a hard time. Are they strong enough to hold on? You're showing them. That's why I'm sharing this. And it can. It can. So keep reaching. Don't refuse. And I'm honored to know you both. And I'm praying for your healing with everything in me. But before I go, I want to give you a framework. I want to something that you can carry with you. And I want to call it, as I referred to the furnace, I want to call it the furnace principle. 3 movements that happen when you refuse to quit in a crisis. First thing is bend. The furnace will apply pressure. Let it. Don't be so rigid that you snap. Be honest about the weight you're carrying. Ask for help. Let your spouse or your partner into the hard place. Bend before you break. Second, revealed. What's inside will rise to the surface. Don't run from it. Don't run from what you see or what you feel. Don't condemn it either. See, where growth is waiting, you will learn from those things. You'll see where the foundation needs to be reinforced. What you're going through, the furnace, the fire, is nothing to be ashamed of, but it is something to grow you and free you. And third is the bond. And this is the one that most people don't see coming. When 2 people are in it together, and then when they're honest about what's being exposed, what they're dealing with, how they feel, when something happens that can't be manufactured, and in these situations like this, intimacy begins to deepen, trust begins to go to a new level, and the bond between them becomes something neither pressure or time can break. You don't come out of it the same. You come out of it better together. So that's bend, reveal, and bond. That is the furnace principle, family. And this is not something I invented. This is Ecclesiastes 4:9. It confirms it that 2 are better than 1 because there's a good return on their labor. And if either of them falls, gets sick, or whatever they're dealing with, the other one is there to help them. That's the design. 2 people present, lifting each other up. Even when one of them barely has the strength to pick up the phone. I want you to sit with something for a moment, and not where you want your relationship or marriage to be, but where it actually is right now. If a storm showed up at your door tomorrow, would you reach for your spouse or your partner, or would you treat into yourself? Would she know that you would bend with her or not? And you don't have to answer that out loud. You just think about it as you are in the course of your relationship, because the answer will be telling. And that answer will tell you exactly what it is that you need to be prayerful about working on. My friend picked up the phone weak and, as I said, depleted, and didn't feel happy, but showed up anyway. And somewhere in the middle of this unthinkable trial, they still poured into me. My good brother, I need you to hear this one more time. You are not defined by this season. You're being shaped by it. This trial, this situation, this health challenge, This furnace, it won't destroy what's real. It's going to reveal. It's going to strengthen. Strength that will be made to last. And you and your wife traveling through this together day by day, appointment by appointment, quiet evenings, just the two of you. That is what marriage was always meant to look like. Not perfect, present. I'm standing with you. I'm praying for your full recovery. And I'm telling every man watching that your story is already an inspiration. That's why I did this. And not because of not that the hard part is over, because of how you are walking through this. So to the men, to my brothers, if you don't have it all together, you still show up. Just show up. What you're dealing with, the furnace, is not the ending. It's your forging. And you can come out of this revealed with bonding, building together. So until next time, be well, love deeply, health and healing to all of you. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one.